Hello, I'm Suzy and I teach writing and voice for St Augustine's College. Students with learning differences may have extensions to hand in their work. They will have an extra 2 to 4 weeks is the usual amount. Sometimes if the learning difference is more serious, they will have the option of one assignment. Usually the essay may be done verbally. So it's by an oral assessment rather than in written.
When I started at college, or even at St Augustine's, I can remember one of the tutors saying to me, you need to go and see the writing tutor. And at that stage, I didn't know how that would help or what that could do for me, but it has changed my life. I can quite comfortably say I would not still be studying if it wasn't for the writing tutor, or that St Augustine's had allowed me to see a writing tutor and made that facility available. Initially, most dyslexics know that they might get more time in exams, or they might get more time to hand in some of their written work, but actually there's a whole lot more help that can be given, and help in terms of how we write, or what we can write, help to get our ideas on paper, and St Augustine's has really opened that up for me, and the fact that we've got a writing tutor here really helps with all of those, with those elements in terms of being able to put together what's going on in my head that I can talk about quite comfortably, but find incredibly difficult to transfer onto paper.
I'm often the first person to have noticed that there's a learning difference present, and the students will have struggled through school and succeeded, but it's always been harder than it should have been given their intelligence. So then students find it's a relief to understand why it's hard for them. So students find that because they understand why they're finding it difficult, that they have an increase in confidence, and they're no longer blaming themselves or telling themselves they're idle or stupid, that they understand this is because it's a neurological difference.
My first formal training was as a registered general nurse, and I completed a number of qualifications. I have 2 teaching qualifications, postgrad, health visiting, but it had been a huge gap. So I finished probably the formal training in the 90s. Of course, I'd gone through other programs in the interim. But I then moved on to complete a level 5 certificate in management, diploma in management studies. So it was a big thing to come back to essay writing, and it was actually quite daunting. So I found myself here at St Augustine's. The admin staff were absolutely amazing, because when I'd been accepted onto the course, there was, I think, almost an 8-month gap between my getting successfully through BAP and starting the programme the next September. So I thought it might be useful to come along to the college and to do a module in between. I met Becky, who was so kind and very supportive, unbelievably so. And so I started to, I did a module, which was quite frightening, really. I hadn't written, as I said before, essays for a long time. And I thought, oh, I'm not sure if I'm going to be able to get my head around this, all of the academic language, the new phrases related to theology. It was all very different to my previous churchmanship. When I started the course properly, I was assigned to Suzy Gregory. And with my first essay, they picked up that the way that I spoke, which, was sort of free-flowing, quite happy to kind of join in the conversations and the debates, but the way that I was writing, they felt there was a gap, some dissonance in that. And they picked up that I was dyslexic, not necessarily something that you expect to find out really in your early middle age, but they were absolutely amazing. And I think that's one of the things that, as I reflect on my time at college, that really stands out for me. If you want to go along to a college, there are many great colleges of theology out there, of course, academically rigorous, and St Augustine's is certainly that. But for me, the thing that really, really underpins my training and my experience as I reflect is the kindness, the support, the compassion. There was never anything that was too much trouble for them. You know, they got me over some humps, and then I found myself amazingly enjoying writing essays. I was thinking, is this really me? And I was having a conversation with my husband recently, and he was saying, you know, how proud he was of me. And he'd look into the study and I'd be surrounded by theological books and texts and beavering away. And again, I thought, oh my goodness, that really was me. So in some ways, there's almost this sense of wonder that I'm now somebody, as a result of my time in college, that's quite confident about writing essays, you know, and that's translated into many of the other things that I'm doing. I'm supporting my daughter who's recently graduated from university, helping her to pull together applications, and yeah, so I got a lot of life experiences from St Augustine.